Howdy, y'all, and welcome to Texaswatch for the week of Tuesday, July 14th, 2020. I'm your host, Project, and joining me, as always, is the Tracer main with the biggest brain, ZXO.
What is up, man? How's it going? We are back with some more talk about some Overwatch. Had a week off. We've got one of the most important topics, if not the most important topic to talk about this
100%. Because this week we're going to talk about how Houston's going to go down, because this is Texas Watch. You can catch the show live right here on twitch.tv/Project AR every Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time, because Texas time
is bestest time.
If you can't catch the show live, don't worry about it. We're on podcast services all around the globe. And maybe you're watching us on YouTube. If you are, hey, how you doing? See that little like button down below? Go ahead and hit that for me. Maybe that subscribe button. Click on notifications. Turn those on. That way you can get notified whenever a new podcast goes on. But instead of just rambling, let's just jump into it. Okay? This week, we have the Battle for Texas 6. Now,
we're two Star Wars trilogies deep. We're two Star Wars trilogies deep, man. We got the first trilogy, and then the ending of the second trilogy.
And
I'm ready.
We're about to see what this trilogy ends on, because this is the probably last time these two teams are gonna see each other for the rest of the season, unless some playoff run happens where we get seeded against each other, which is very possible. We'll get into that a little bit later. But
yes.
Before we do, maybe you're not really familiar with the history of the Battle for Texas. Maybe this is your first time hearing of it. You know, why do these two teams hate each other so much?
If it's your first time hearing about it, well, welcome to the show. Nice to meet you. Enjoy the topic, because we're about to go down the rabbit hole here of what this rivalry has meant to Overwatch and how up and down it's been for both teams.
100%. So what I want to do is let's go back and we're just going to run through literally every single Battle for Texas that we have had in the Overwatch League. Sound good?
Sounds like a plan to me. I'm more than happy to go down memory lane.
Well, then let's start off with the very first Battle for Texas.
Yeah.
It was in, January of 2018.
2018, I believe, yes.
We had the Dallas Fuel going up against the Houston Outlaws, and the Outlaws took it 4-0.
That's right. We was the shit.
Right.
We was the shit. Mm-hmm. That's right. It was an amazing experience.
I want to jump to one of these games before we do. Oh, God. Audio. Don't sue us, Overwatch League. But I want to take a look at this real quick. So, I went back and I kind of skimmed through all these games and found some interesting things. First things first, a friendly reminder for my long-term Fuel fans. This was when we had the Taimu effect, Mickey, Coco, Chipsa, and Custa roster.
I was going to say, I forgot you had Chipsa. No,
Chip Cyan. Sorry.
Oh, what a wow! That roster brings back like a whole other era of Overwatch League.
This was the old Team Envy roster back when they won Apex, so you would think, oh, this team's unbeatable, and then they're getting 4-0'd by the Houston Outlaws, a team of, well, I don't want to say nobodies, but come on.
What?
Come on,
man. No. You can't do this like that with the Jank Linkser combo. Are you kidding me? We had some people that were good in the league. Linkser at the time was probably one of, if not the best Widows in the league. First off, don't do my boy Linkser like that.
Okay.
All right. And Jake literally has a character that only is assigned to him. Hello. Like, what other hero person in the league, I guess, besides the Genjis now? No one else has that.
True.
No one played Junkrat the way Jake did back in the day. So don't do my boy short. Before y'all, we were good.
Okay. I'll give y'all that. What I do have to give y'all, though, is, again, y'all took it 4-0. This was when the Dallas Fuel weren't looking all too good as a team. We were going through a whole bunch of drama. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. Let's just not talk about it. We're going to fast forward to
Cry me a river.
Pretty much. For the first Battle for Texas, Houston Outlaws took it, and they owned Texas for pretty much the entirety of the season because they never played again. Until Season 2. April 28th, 2019. At the Allen Event Center in Allen, Texas, the Dallas Fuel were hosting the very first home game. Now, you might think, okay, why is this special? Why did this matter? This game specifically, Dallas versus Houston, was the most electrifying sporting event I've ever been to in my life. The hype in that arena was unreal. The fact that it was Dallas versus Houston meant we had fans from all across the state of Texas all in that arena. It really did feel like, well, not 50-50, but I'd say a good 55-45.
Hell no, it wasn't 50-50. It was about 60-40.
Right. There were more Fuel fans than Outlaws fans, but Outlaws fans showed up for this game.
We did, and we were loud.
You were loud, but you couldn't beat home field advantage. Sorry. Not sorry.
Of course not.
That's
seriously, the first homestand you had the first homestand where the home team, you had people that were even from Dallas just there because it was the first one. So yes, I would say there was a massive home field advantage, and that's what ended up costing the Outlaws. I guess y'all were kind of good, but I mean,
good. This is home field advantage. This is when OG was at his peak for sure. AKM Zarya was showing up. I mean, he figured out how to play goats. Everybody.
This is the goats meta. That's right.
This was goats. Don't forget that.
This is the goats meta.
So we had some good times in this game. Dallas won this one. They officially took Texas back from the Outlaws. So it was a pretty good feeling, if I do say so myself. Okay.
Must be nice to get a win after a while. Must be nice to get on the board. It must be nice to get on the board.
So this was the second battle for Texas, one that we would think would happen once a year until the 2020 season. This season, so far, we have had 3. Let's talk about the first one, right? April 26th, 2020, almost an entire year after the previous battle for Texas, we get Houston versus Dallas again. Dallas taking it in a much closer game than previous. We went 2-3 instead of the 3-1 or 3-0. So if you ask me, this is when the team started kind of reaching true parity. We weren't really stricken by goats. We were both two teams that were, I'll be honest, at this time of the season, we weren't doing too hot.
And it truly became a rivalry. It was in a dangerous spot of not becoming a rivalry if Houston would have beat Dallas on their home turf. If you go up 2-0 on beating someone on the road, there's danger. There's danger that's why the LA teams, that's why they're not celebrated, I would say, as much as this rivalry, is because those teams are so up and down and back and forth, and this, I don't even think it's really parity. But once Dallas came and 3-1 the Outlaws on the second time, or they beat the Outlaws the second time, and the Outlaws swept in the first time, and then to come back in this third match, and for it to be as close as it was, I think really put it on the map as this is a rivalry that's going to help carry the Overwatch League.
For sure. And I mean, every single battle for Texas, the numbers are always there. If they actually still did in-home games, which I pray we get next season, if you put Dallas versus Houston on the ticket, we'll buy tickets. Shit, we'll be.
We're gonna be there. We're gonna be there.
Those games are something else. But this was the first one that we had of this season. We have been used to having one all season for the past 2. So to our surprise, we got another one. May 22nd.
Another one.
We had. We had Houston versus Dallas. Dallas taking it 3-1. This time during this season, it was when Dallas were starting to figure out, how their team worked. Decay started to pop off. Doha started to get into his own shoes. We had kind of figured out what we needed to do to win. Houston, on the other hand, I think y'all were still playing Muma at this time.
Yes, I believe so.
Let me see if I can pull up.
It was still Muma, and I believe in Mecca we had just gotten too. I believe that was our tank line during that matchup.
Oh no, you had hydration in during this game.
Oh, we did. Wait,
I got it pulled up on the side, homie. Pull up the screen.
Has Muma been gone that long?
Let's see. Okay, we're on. This is game 3. Game 4, hydration's still in. Hanamura, fast forward. Rialto, hydration's still in. Going to the first map that was on Nepal. Yeah, hydration.
Man, this must have been one of the early times. Yeah, and this is when we started to shift as a team on the Outlaws, right? But benching Muma, one of our mainstays. If you've watched any of the Outlaws games, or when this team was first formed, Muma is one of our favorite players. He's definitely one of the fan favorites, and one that when he got benched was pretty shocking for the Outlaws. So to see Hydration come in and then to perform at a good level was surprising to me at first. I've seen him play before he got to the Outlaws. I knew what he could do, but I didn't expect him to just hold on to that main tank role. I suspected that Movement would take it back, but so far that wasn't the case, and this was kind of the start of it. And this was a good series here too, man. This was a good matchup. Definitely was.
I would definitely have to agree, but I do also think that this is when Dallas started to, I don't want to say crumble. This is when I personally noticed a little bit of a lacking in performance when it comes to closer. I do think this is also when we're starting to go through the drama of he wanted to go home. So that makes sense. Moving on, we ended up having the Lone Star Challenge. A 3-week rotating series between the Fuel and the Outlaws. This wasn't official. This was like an exhibition, but I like to consider it a official battle for Texas.
It's just a rubber. It's a rubber match. It's when you're in the driveway, you beat your homie, in a one-on-one game. Yeah, you're not in a court with referees and stuff, but you still won.
It still counts, especially. And I want to give it to Houston. Like, this was an entertaining game to watch. I will admit, I never realized how important the home and away skins were until watching this match. Because having both teams on their home skin, while it looks kind of cool, they're both like.
There's a very high contrast. Yes. There's a very high contrast between it's like the green and blue really clash against each other. There's a reason that all sporting leagues do it a certain way. There's a reason for that, and we kind of find out here. But yeah, it was a pretty good matchup, man. I had a lot of fun watching this. I think it's a great idea. I'm glad we had I believe it was Uber and Jake.
Jake were the casters.
Casting this, and that was pretty cool. I love Jake's bias. It was great.
I hope that we see more of this from other teams, actually, because like the Dallas-Houston rivalry specifically, I feel is one of the few that's relatively consistent, right? Like, we don't ever really have to deal with knowing, like, oh, well, Dallas is going to look better than Houston, or Houston looks better than Dallas. Like, one thing, especially in the conversation that we're going to get to, I do think this is going to be a pretty close game.
I think so, too.
So, you know what? Should we just jump into the next Battle for Texas?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it.
So, jumping in, we are now on, let's see, what day is it? July 17th at 4 o'clock p.m. Central Time, because Texas time.
It's Bestest time. You know this.
There we go. So, here's where I'm looking at, right? We have the game coming up, and the hero pool specifically is what I want to talk to you about. Because this is where we start thinking about strategies, who has the upper hand. And I actually think that this next game is going to be really interesting for both teams. The hero pool. We have, for our audio listeners, if you're not watching us on video right now, the two DPS that are banned for this game are both May and Widowmaker. Two characters who we've seen. I know Dallas, we've played May Widow a lot. I know y'all like to play Widow with Linkser.
That's his hero.
Dante gets stuck on May sometimes, so maybe we'll probably see a lot more Tracer. Looking forward to that. For tanks, the only tank that is banned is Orisa. I'm personally not worried at all. Gamsu's tank line and the tanks he can play are pretty much all over the place. He just plays Orisa because he has to. And then Note doesn't really touch her unless he also has to. And then for the support that is banned, we have Ana, which is, I think, the most interesting of all four bans. Because this means
what makes you say that?
No nano. There's no nano available, no purple, no sleep. We're going to see a lot more people dying pretty quickly. We're going to see a lot less put all of your resources into one character for their ultimate, because that's what nano really was. Like, during the Summer Showdown, we saw a lot of teams prioritizing the Genji, make sure Genji can stay alive, so Genji can pop off with his or with his blade, so Ana could give it to him and then he'd go off. Now we're not going to see that. Genji will still be in play, but he won't be able to be nanoed, which I think is going to be a really interesting contrast for this week's games.
And plus, you have to realize too, I believe this is the patch where Briggs armor packs don't heal you or increase your HP. That's the live patch right now. So that's an even more of a hindrance to Genji, as well as not having Nano Blade. So teams are going to have to make a pretty big decision here about whether they want to stick with that Genji kind of brawl comp I have an opinion on what you could run, but unfortunately, it doesn't work well for the Outlaws if that is the meta. It would be to run the Lucio Moira, Reinhardt like Zarya, and you're in the Genji as a brawler, and you just roll because he can just right click the shit out of people, and you run him as a brawl hero because that's what you have to do. But
when has Houston never been good at a brawly comp?
Exactly my point. So you'll have to end up putting Linkser on the Ashe because I think at this point that's the only hero that's viable for him in this meta. And Dante can run either Echo or Tracer. Without a Widow, it makes it easier because then Echo doesn't have to worry about a one-hit kill. But Ashe is still in play as well, and McCree is still on the table. So it's going to make for some more creativity. I'm glad to have the Mei ban, to be honest, because I hate seeing Dante in Mei jail. Like he's way too good of a hit scan and player overall other heroes to be forced on like Mei Reaper. So we won't see that, which is great. And I am a little worried, to be honest, to kind of go with the Outlaws weaknesses at first. I think Hydration's Orisa was serviceable and pretty good. His Reinhardt is still to be determined. I think it's looked really hot and cold, similar to Muma's. So I don't know what to expect. I mean, I see Muma still as a better Reinhardt, main Reinhardt Winston than Hydration. I'd be curious to see if we pull him out for maybe a control map or something and have Muma in there and they bring in Hydration for the payload style maps or the hybrid. That would be interesting to me. That's maybe the direction I would lean, but I'm not Dream, so I don't know, our Harshal. So I don't know what they have up their sleeve, but the meta is going to be interesting. I don't want to say difficult, but the loss of Widow, which is what Linkster can really have his carry potential on, is tough. And last thing I want to say about it too, I know Dream actually recently had a stream on Twitch where he was talking about why we've looked better over the past couple weeks. And he literally was completely honest and said, the real key thing that has made us a lot better over these past couple weeks and made us compete as well as we did in the Summer Showdown, he said it was straight up Linkser. We honestly didn't change any of our coaching philosophies. He's like, Linkser just played better. And he also went on to say that I know people think that coaches have a ton of influence on a lot of this stuff, but to be honest, we can only tell them so much and they have to go out and perform. And he said the reason we're playing better is because Linkser is just performing better. And I was like, that's a huge statement, right? So he's really admitting that we haven't changed too much our coaching philosophies. Hydration's been in, Dante's been in, Linkser's been in, Jex and Repel, and Meko, of course. They've all been consistent, and they're saying nothing's really changed except for the fact that our players are playing better. And it's kind of sucks for us to see that Widow's out of the picture. Maybe he can pop up on the Ashe too. I'm not sure, but this hero pool, like you mentioned, is going to be interesting to see what these teams come out with. But I'm assuming the Ashe, because the long range hit scan, I think, is still meta.
Well, that's really the option for long range hit scan, period, unless you want to shot with McCree. Like, looking at Dallas's side, I'm not worried at all, to be honest. We saw Decay pop off so much on Ashe. He was the reason why people were scared of us when it came to his Ashe too. Now, one thing we do have to take into consideration is Ashe did just get a nerf. Now, we don't know.
The dynamite.
We don't know if that 2-second dynamite nerf is going to be enough to maybe make people pick her less. But I do think it is something to take into consideration.
Yeah, and another point, too, is a lot of times those dynamites, you use the Orisa Holt. But there's no Orisa now.
Oh, so, good point.
So the dynamite is a longer cooldown and it's less effective. You can notice Ashe and the other team, granted we're, low level players, we're too dumb. We're like, oh, there's Ashe, oh, we're on fire. Like, no, pro players know not to stay together knowing there's an Ashe at a certain location. So she's much less effective. So maybe we could be wrong and there's no Ashe play, but that's why I enjoy hero pools in small doses. Like, I like the playoffs having, like, everybody. But hero pools in small doses where you have to think, like, dang, if I had to really play this myself, what would I do? Like, that's pretty cool. So maybe we won't see Ashe. But if we do, I'd agree with you. I think Decay is a very consistent Ashe player. So we'll see if she's meta and gets played.
But one thing I want to ask you is, are we going to see another double hit scan week? That's definitely a meta that we're starting to kind of roll into, and I do think that Dallas and Houston, to give you guys some credit, are prepared for that. But
that would be our best case scenario.
Yeah.
I think we would perform the best with a double hit scan meta, and I'd be honest, I would think if y'all run the Genji Ashe kind of style, y'all would do better in that regard because we don't truly have that Genji player that's that good. But I think Doha is more. Yeah, is well versed on the Genji. Dante can play it at a serviceable level, but it wouldn't be enough to carry, right? He would need a lot of help from Linkser in the Ashe battle. So it depends. If it's double hit scan, I think we can compete. I think Decay and Dante can just go at it, and we saw in the previous matchups they pretty much cancel each other out. Really, neither of them had two big plays, and it comes down to who wins between Doha and Linkser. Depending on the heroes. If Linkser's playing Ashe and Doha's playing Genji, if Linkser gets dove, what can we do? So but Linkser gets the headshot, and then it's it. Like, so it's really gonna come down to it's gonna be close, man. These matches are too close. They're too close to tell.
I'm so excited about that, but that's why I want to take this time to break down the matches. We know what we're going to see from the teams, right? We're probably going to see Doha Decay starting on Dallas, Gamsu Note because they never get swapped out. We're going to see Paintbrush and Crimzo in. Okay, cool. Nothing new. I did take a look at the hero pool beforehand, and like I mentioned, I'm genuinely not worried because all of these heroes that are being banned, save for Widow, because I know that whenever we do have both Decay and Oni when he pops off, because we've only seen him, play 3 games now?
Yeah.
The man's pretty talented in Widow as well, but we don't really need that. We have good hit scans, we have good tanks, and we have good supports. So what we need to take a look at now is going through the game piece by piece, right? Starting off on Control. Both Dallas and Houston have shown that Control is one of our stronger map types.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say that is one of our stronger map types. Control is going to be tricky, right? Because what does it come down to? Control, man. You're going to get the 1v1s eventually. And individual skill comes into so much more play. It's hard to say because I don't know what they're going to run. Like, there's no Mei, right? So let's say it's, Lijiang Tower in the control center, where it's the usual Mei Reaper kind of style map. There's no Mei, so you can't really run the Reaper because you can't wall them in like that.
Right.
So what do they run, right? It's not a really good map for Genji on that style because there's not a lot of, wall climbing up in the air places. So what do you run? But on Lijiang Tower, what is it? The Garden State where Farah boops all the time with the bridge. Yeah, I think it's called Garden or something like that. I could be wrong there. But so what are they going to run there? Dante could bust out the Farah. But if they run their Ashe, there's so many different combinations. So it's hard to say, but on Control, if I had to pick one, I think it's 50-50 to be honest, but I have to go with the home team, so I think the Outlaws take it.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not expecting you to say if I had to pick one for this entire episode. Go ahead and be biased, okay? Because I sure enough am.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I feel it, but I genuinely believe that it's really close right now between these two teams.
I would have to agree, and the thing that's really interesting too is when you look at both the Outlaws and the Fuel, when you look at their average season performance, I'd say that we're both sitting right in the middle of the pack. The teams aren't bad. We had Coach Christopher from the Philadelphia Fusion. He went on the Tactical Crouch podcast, and he very candidly said Dallas is one of those teams that they can beat you at any given moment. You can't give a team with the DPS potential that we have. And, Overwatch right now is a DPS's game. I still stand.
Oh yeah, which I'm glad. I'm so glad it's a DPS game now, dude. I don't want to see Reinhardt's and Zarya just walk forward and it's kind of boring. Just hold left click on somebody.
Right,
I want to see some flashy DPS plays. I want to see pulse bombs and dragon blades, man. That's what I want to see in Overwatch.
And that means that you're gonna need to have those fresh, talented DPS in order to carry the team. I didn't realize this. Did you know that Paintbrush is 24?
No, I did not know that. Wow, talking about doing the grind.
Paintbrush is 24. Got signed to the Gladiators earlier this year, then traded to Dallas. So this is his first season. Onigod is 22. He has been performing professional Overwatch for 4 years now, since he was 18. He performed on the Swedish World Cup team for 4 years. Just now got promoted to Owl. So I've noticed that the Fuel organization definitely likes to invest in experienced players. and it's
Now
starting
they
to
do.
pay off. No,
Now they do.
100%. It's really starting to pay off too, because we have players that are comfortable under pressure, players that can compete and perform when they need to, and can enable our young DPS to really pop off. I look forward to this game, not just for the fandom, but I do think that seeing these, I don't want to call our teams middle of the table, because I think that's a little unfair. Owl is a really weird esport right now, especially with the two regions.
Well, yeah, and to me, it's actually brilliant. Actually, I'll just say it's brilliant because your team is just one meta away. Jesus Christ, the Paris Eternal just one Genji buff away from being damn near the best team in the league because of one Genji buff and one player, obviously.
And come on, Sparkle, you kind of he kind of helped them just a bit.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but imagine if it was like a McCree meta. Let's see if McCree gets buff and Genji just becomes like worthless and didn't get that buff. Sparkle is useless.
Yeah,
like he couldn't play. Like, what do you do? Put him on the Mei? I've seen his Mei. Sorry, dog, but that's not your hero. Like, that's just not it. You are a Genji Doomfist. So that's the thing you mentioned about Overwatch League. You're one meta away from literally being an amazing team.
Right.
So that could happen. And so both our teams being middle of the pack, that doesn't mean they're bad. It's just, it could be we really just have what the meta comes at the end of the season. And all of a sudden we make a run and, maybe get the championship. That's still possible. It's going down to the end, but it's still possible.
And the thing I'm really looking forward to when it comes to this game is technically it's the second game of the day. So I can't be like, this will be what dictates the rest of the meta for the weekend. But hero pools are often really interesting way to see how good a team is. I mean, we've had this argument time and time again on Texaswatch. Subscribe if you haven't so you can get it in the future. Because the concept of hero pools is really interesting. It's an algorithmically based way to make the game more difficult for the teams. And it means the team that's more creative, that has a wider hero pool, that has players that are good enough to be flexible. Like, I'm sure we have plenty of players in the entire Overwatch League who would be happy to just one-trick Widow the entire time.
Oh, of course. I mean, I just want a one-trick Tracer, like every game I'm in. But like, that's the beauty of Overwatch, because sometimes they just have everything to counter your hero. If I'm playing Tracer, there's a Roadhog, there's a McCree, and there's a Brig. It's like, they're like, dude, switch off a Tracer, man. You're gonna get hooked, stunned by two people. Like, you're not gonna do it. So that's fair. And then with hero pools now, it makes it even more creative. These coaches have to be more creative about what we're going to run and what they think other teams are going to run. Because remember, you have to guess. Because you're like, okay, we think they'll do this because everyone else is doing this. This is our counter. Or run the mirror, and then you could be screwed if you've been practicing against the mirror the whole time. Then you're not going to know how to handle anything else. So it's tough on these coaches, though. But, man, I think it's going to be interesting. And I will say we have the coach advantage, I would say, when it comes to the two teams.
I mean, sure.
Yeah, this is the guy. What would he say? Decay just wanted to take a day off, like in the middle of a terror. Like, what? Like, no. Come on, coach. And you don't announce that right after the fact. I don't know.
At least he's willing to be candid and honest. Like, there is something that me personally, after watching this organization for as long as I have, after seeing the various coaches that MV chooses, how the organization works, I do think that it's kind of interesting, and I have a bit of a theory that there might be something behind the scenes at Fuel HQ that we're not seeing as fans. But
that's like helping or hindering the coach.
I want to say hindering a little bit, but
okay.
I think that it has to do with the fact that MV as an organization, quick tangent, has been an organization that's known for winning. Like, MV doesn't really just join an esport just to say, we're gonna try.
True. Very true.
They just picked up a Valorant team who's a really good team. Granted, I don't really follow Valorant all too much, but if Envy says, hey, we're joining Valorant, I pay attention.
Of course.
Okay.
And I think that could be said about a lot of teams. Like Cloud9's also one of those teams that has a lot of name recognition too. So that can be said about a couple.
Cloud9 pulled out of Overwatch League. It's not really super public. They did. But they're no longer owners of this. Well, I think they own it via like a sub company or some shit. Right,
because they were the original London Spitfire, yes. and then they got out of that. Or I guess they got out of it as a front-facing part of it.
Yes.
They just don't throw their name around on it right now. But I mean, still, they're one of those organizations, and when that happened, it was a big deal. And when they came in, it was a big deal. It gives legitimacy to a lot of these esports. But yeah, Team Envy. I mean, Team Envy has a Rocket League team. They've got a Valorant team. They've got I don't know if they still have a CS:GO team. I haven't seen them in a while. But Europe's kind of dominating CS:GO.
CS:GO team
Yeah, but they are a brand name, so we'll see. So maybe it is an organizational thing. I don't know, man, but I know Harshaw and Dream, they've got the full backing of ownership because I mean they're letting them do what they need to do, and they've made changes, and so far we're on the up and up.
I want to say credit to the Outlaws organization too. Ever since y'all got bought out by this real estate investor,
random Houston real estate investor.
Yeah. I have noticed the team seems to be not only happier, but it genuinely feels like more of an esports organization than the previous Optic. And in your guys' defense, Optic just went through a shit ton of drama over the past couple of years.
Right. So, they had to cut some things out, and Overwatch League was too expensive, so they had to cut it, which sucked. But I'm glad we also didn't get any kind of crazy shit because we were partially owned by, what was it, Immortals or something for a little while.
That. Yeah.
And I was like, they're gonna fucking throw us in the tank, dude. They're gonna like shaft it just because they can, like, and just they own two teams now. But they actually kept it pretty stable until we got bought out by someone else. So that ended up being good.
Kudos to Immortals for taking care of the Outlaws org too. They didn't have to.
Right. I'm sure there was something in it for them, but they did us the right way. They did us right. So I'm gonna take that one. I know it's a point I didn't intend to bring up, but I would say our coaching lineup beats the Fuels coaching lineup. All right. So next.
Okay. I'm not gonna say either or. I am confident that Arrow is a good coach. He has proven himself time and time again. I want to say Coach Young, the coach that we got from Element Mystic. I don't know if you've noticed, but Dallas has gotten a lot more precise in their game playing this year. And I definitely think that Young has a huge influence in that.
You have to define precise. Like
the way that we dive on characters when we finish fights is a lot faster than it used to be. It's a lot more like, hey, we actually have a plan and we're executing on it. Versus granted, last season was GOATs, so it's kind of
I'd give him a credit with the players you have now, in my opinion, then especially with Doha and Decay. And if you watch any Korean contenders, support tier 2, they in general, Korean DPS players move at a much faster pace, in my opinion, than Western players.
Yeah.
They play fast. If you watch NA contenders, which is obviously just admitted the farm league for Overwatch League, when you watch the two leagues and even Europe as well, Korean contenders is different. There's a reason they pump so much money into them. There's a reason that they have esports arenas for tier 2. Like every time they place in an arena, everyone else is at home, like just trying to do it over, whatever the online. Korean esports, they do it land every time, and the level of play is just so high. So I think that's been a big contributing factor for you guys, just having two Korean DPS making these calls saying, yo, jump this person, we're going to kill them, and they just go, and everyone else has to figure it out. And that's I think why earlier in the season when DK say needed a break, it was a lot for him. I'm pretty sure, I mean, this is just a wild speculation, let me put on my green tinfoil hat because green is a great color, that he was doing all this and making these calls and saying, let's go, I'm pulling you guys along, let's go, and that must be tiring. So, and then he needed a break. So I think it's more the players in that case than I'd give to the coaches there. But I'm sure, but they have helped. I mean, obviously they've done well because they're mid-tier. They're not bottom tier like some of these teams.
We can go back to the dream quote that you just had. Like, coaches can only do so much.
Right. We can make the set play, but that's it.
At the end of the day, it's the players on the mouse and keyboard, and it's the players that are the ones actually performing the actions.
That's true.
And also, like, the game that we had, I think it was against Vancouver, where they threw in Onigod, expecting him to perform on his first game, and of course he was nervous. But I think that game was a wake-up call for the rest of the Fuel members that, hey, don't just rely on Decay. Like, everybody needs to be able to step it up. And I think that after those couple of games with Oni, we did step it up. And granted, we lost 3 games in a row. Well, no, didn't we beat Toronto?
No, you guys lost to Toronto.
We lost to Toronto.
Because that's when Agilities fucking popped off. And
Genji.
Yeah,
Genji.
Oh,
Agilities is back. Okay. Which, personally, I think that he's only back because Genji got those buffs.
Of course, yeah. Well, think about there are a lot of players like that. I mean, just Hacks. I mean, what Sparkle and Hacksaw? Like, what else do you really see them play? They either get put on like Genji or Mei, and they both suck at Mei. So it's just like, so that's the meta shift, like we were talking about earlier. But yeah, so I think I've derailed this away from what your original topic was of what each map type, who would win what.
Dude, I don't care. This episode, we are specifically talking about our teams. This is the podcast for this, okay? I don't care if we stay on track or not. What I care about is the fact that the Dallas Fuel are going to beat the Houston Outlaws. Calling it now.
Not so fast, my friend.
You heard me.
So fast.
I genuinely think that Dallas is in a position to where we are ready to win some games this season. Every season, literally every season since season 1, the last quarter is when we finally kick it into high gear. This is when we actually make our final push towards playoffs. This is when we finally say, make the decision, okay? We're not going to just always be the middle of the tier teams. I see, okay. I do think that this will finally be our chance to actually go somewhere. Whenever we get to the Countdown Cup, awful name. Guys, come on. You can do better.
Yeah, really? Come on. You guys get paid better than that. Damn.
They like their alliteration. I get it, okay? I like it too. But whenever we get there, as long as we don't get stuck with the fucking black horse that was Paris. Wait, Dark Horse, not Black Horse.
It's Dark Horse. I was like, I paused it. Wait, Black Horse.
That's not right. That's not right.
They're the Black Horse team.
Unless, which actually,
the Dark Horse.
Isn't there like the Mavericks or something? Aren't they like black horses?
No.
What?
They're blue and white. You know what a Maverick is?
No.
Actually, a Maverick is I believe it's a. So wait, now you've got me confused because it's like the logo. Yeah, the logo is a horse on it. Yes, right. The logo is, but it's white and blue. It's not like black.
Then
no, the logo is not black.
What's the black horse called? I know, like, aren't they? That's not the point, okay?
Are you talking about an NBA team with a black horse?
No, I can't remember now. I want to say like stallions, but no, that's just a type of horse. I don't know. Yeah. Somebody that knows horses, please let us know in the comments down below. Thank you.
Yeah, because obviously we're slow. It's very clear.
But no, like, unless we get caught up against the Dark Horse team like the Paris Eternal again, if we didn't when we went into that game, I thought we actually had a chance. Like, I didn't know Sparkle was going to pop off like he did. Paris wasn't looking as good as they did until we saw him in that game.
If you check my bracket, the summer show, I had Paris doing very well because I knew Genji would be OP and Sparkle's good at Genji.
Did so I had that game.
No, I had to go to the third round and losing to the Shock. And that was shocking. That's right, pun intended. That they won. I'll take the heat on that one. I know that was bad. I came down the spot.
Which, by the way, I'm a little disappointed. Why didn't we do brackets for the last tournament? We totally had the opportunity to do brackets and we didn't.
Their brackets are still there. I would like to see how many points you got at some point, maybe when we finish talking about the Fuel and Outlaws. Because it's point based, right, between Asia and the North American region.
Oh shit!
So
I only filled out the NA bracket.
Oh, well, then I win. Victory. Because it counts points for both.
Dude, my bracket was busted so quick, it wasn't even worth it.
Yeah, my bracket was busted. I don't think it got busted. Oh, yeah, it did when Toronto got to the semis.
And that was
against the Fusion. And I was like, okay, yeah, that I didn't have Toronto going that far. There's no way.
It's all good, though. Like, bringing this back to the Battle for Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
I say that Dallas is going to win, not just with bias. I'd
hope not. I hope you got some ammunition. You got something in the chamber.
Pool, I think that the tank line is going to be your biggest problem. Meko is fine. Meko will always be fine. He has D.Va available, which I think that the buff D.Va will be on this patch. And he has Sigma available. I'm worried about your main tank. You have Muma, who's been playing mediocre all season. And then you have Hydration, who is getting better at main tank. I will not deny this.
Mm-hmm.
He usually plays Orisa.
He does, which is something I mentioned earlier. Yeah.
Like, take that away. What does he have? I think he's played Reinhardt maybe once or twice, and that's looked okay.
It looks serviceable, which is why I hope they do something in regards to switching them out. So
he's still getting paid, so he could be swapped in.
Yeah, and he's been playing a lot. He's been streaming a lot more lately. It's still very obvious he still wants to play. I get the impression from his streams and listening to him talk. He definitely wants to play. He just knows he needs to step his game up in scrims or practice, whatever it may be. He's got to show that he deserves to be the starting main tank. Right now, he hasn't done that. So maybe he can work his way in. And it'll be good, man. Competition, in my opinion, as someone who played sports and everything, is good. You're either going to rise up to the challenge or crumble when you know someone's breathing down your neck.
Right, especially go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. In that situation, especially, if you know someone's coming for your spot or your spot potentially in danger, do you play better or do you literally let it get to you and play worse and then get your spot taken? So maybe it's a lesson Muma needs to learn, and maybe he'll get better from this. I'd hope so.
But that's my honest defense. Like, your support line is fine, your DPS line is fine. Without Widow, I do think that the Outlaws are a little bit weaker compared to Dallas. Just throwing that out there. If Widow was still in, it'd be a different conversation. While we do have Decay and Oni to play Widow, Lynx's Widowmaker is still, in my opinion, one of the best in the league. When he's on, we all know he's hot and cold.
Well, in my opinion, I have to say this. I'll counter with this.
Okay.
You have the worst player on the starting roster in Crimzo.
In Crimzo?
Crimzo's the worst player in the lobby.
I wouldn't agree with that, but what makes
Who's the worst player in the lobby?
In the lobby between Dallas and Houston?
Yes.
My finger wants to go towards hydration, but that's only because he's in a position that he's not usually playing. I don't think that Crimzo is the worst player in the lobby. Crimzo has proven he's a fucking starter. Why do you think that he got that spot?
Why do you think hydration got his spot?
Because Muma wasn't playing too hot.
Well, that's not a good argument why he's in the starting lineup, which means he's better than someone. No. Crimzo just gets dunked on and outplayed by every support he goes against. He has not outplayed a support line or done it one time. Paintbrush actually sucked ass his debut, but showed up after that. That's
usually what happens.
I've never seen a game where I'm like, yo, Crimzo popped off. Not once.
Okay.
Not once. I haven't even seen a game where Hydration's popped off on the Winston and gone in and won some fights for us. He has the wrecking ball in his artillery. Like, he's good at the Roadhog. He's an outstanding Roadhog. That's his main here. He can literally play almost any tank line and any main tank in the game and almost all the off tanks. So I don't know if I at a high level more than Muma can. So I don't know if I'd say he's the worst player in the lobby. I would say that if you take Jexay Repel, at least in support lines against like Crimzo, I just don't see how he stacks up.
I mean, I'm not going to sit there and completely disagree with you. You do raise a very good point. One thing I do want to add, though, is we've had this discussion again over and over and over again. If a support isn't being noticed, are they really doing a bad job?
But they're not doing a great job.
Well, okay, true. I think it just might be
they're
the
just
way that
being
Dallas plays.
average.
Well, look at Closer, right? Like, he supported us for a very long time. He didn't really pop off all too much. He occasionally popped off on Lucio.
I know more about Closer for sure than I know Crimzo. And Crimzo even talks a lot of shit for someone who doesn't. He talks a lot of shit in the lobby for someone who, in my opinion, does not make many very big plays at all. Yeah. Like, any person on both our teams, I can say, like, oh, yeah, they did so-and-so here. Like, Meko did this huge, like, he had this huge diva play, or his Sigma's gotten a lot better. Note Sigma's noticeable now. We know that Hydration has improved and is versatile with a lot of heroes. Our DPS, nothing needs to be said. Our DPS can pop off and stuff. And I think of all these people, and I'm like, what the fuck has Crimzo done? I just picture him on Zenyatta, and then, like, he just keeps, like, dying. Like, that's the first thing I think of.
Let me see if I can actually pull up Crimzo's stats specifically.
I would like to see that, because that's the first thought that came to mind. So I'm going to stand by that. I think y'all have the worst player in the lobby. I think that's the case. Now, then I could make the argument. Then you could argue the best player in the lobby is tough. I think obviously between Dante and Decay, but that's to be tough.
It's tough because both Dante and Decay were put in carry positions for their team.
Yeah, and they've done it.
Yeah, and that's again where it gets complicated because you have Dante who plays the carry potential and Decay who plays carry potential, but Dante's played mostly the projectile, the tracer, the echo.
He's played everything.
Whereas Decay, when he comes in, he's the hit scan specialist. He's the one clicking heads. He's the one getting the first pick in the fight. It's difficult, and I do actually anticipate plenty of Dante Decay duels. If we go to Junkertown, I remember I texted you about this, where we saw it was the Philly-Houston game. And both of y'all were playing the whole fucking let me crouch and sneak around as Tracer and Widow to get some like shots. That was good Overwatch.
Yeah,
I like seeing that, and I hope that we get to see that again because we don't see it all too often where players get a little bit more creative with how they play the game versus just playing the game.
Right, exactly, and I love seeing that. I love these strategies coming out of nowhere, or maybe it was planned. But these two players know, Dante and Linkster, how to play those angles on a map like Junkertown, which is important. But I wouldn't take anything away from Doha and Decay being able to match something like that. I think it's really close.
Let me ask you, because my memory isn't going great. Who is the other DPS on Houston?
Jexay and Repel. Those are our DPS. Oh, DPS. Sorry, I said support. So DPS.
I'm like, wait. Okay, so it's...
My bad. I had that in my mind.
Dante, Linkster, Blase.
Those are the three we rotate with.
That's it? You only have 3 DPS?
That's it, I believe.
We only rotate between 3 too, so I can't really talk. But
right. Anyone else? I don't think we really play that much. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's. I think that's all the 3 DPS. Yeah, that's literally all 3 we have in the roster. I just checked real quick. That's all we got.
Okay, I can't really compare it too much. And I just pulled up Crimzo's stats. He primarily plays Ana, Zen, and Moira. So we're probably gonna see a lot of Moira Zen from him this week.
Mm-hmm.
Moira for sure. The thing that's really interesting about Moira, whenever she's in, is she's not really a impact character.
Well,
hear me out when I say this, right?
I'll tell you how to judge Moira. Go ahead.
I consider flex supports more of the impactful supports. Moira is more along the lines of I'm supposed to heal and I can still get damage, but doesn't she still have the highest healing output in the game?
Yeah, she's closer to a main support than a flex support.
Right. So I don't know, man. Like it's really curious to see what we're gonna see this week, especially from strats. Oftentimes we've seen teams go to the double shield option with Orisa Sigma. We don't got Orisa this week, so are we gonna see Rein Sigma? Maybe Rein Zarya, Rein Diva, like.
Oh, bring back Rein Zarya. I would love to see it.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
I would love to see it.
That personally worries me just a little bit too. If we do see Rein Zarya, I know that Note has been practicing his Zarya and his Sigma. I haven't seen him play Zarya all too much recently, but Diva is also an option. I would be very, very happy for the Note Meko Diva duel.
I would know. I'll see your Diva Note and raise you Meko Zarya, because Meko Zarya is low-key great, and we will if we get King's Row, bring back Spree's Row, baby. We will put Spree in and run the Zarya.
Wait.
Hell yeah, he is. Seriously? He is.
Oh shit.
So if it's Rein Zarya, we get King's Row, good fucking luck, because he will have grab in about 30 seconds. That's literally the only hero he plays. So if Note wants to play Diva in that regard, or go 1-on-1 against Spree, I will take my odds there. So we'll see. So yeah, we got some pocket picks here on the bench for the Outlaws. Can't really doubt us here, Okay, so
okay. I'll give y'all that. I'm just really curious because we don't see players coming off of the bench all too often anymore, especially this late in the season. Like I can't understate. We have 5 more weeks.
But see, you say that, but then Oni God for you guys is a pretty, it rotates in quite often. Between Doha, Decay, Oni God, and Doha. Those 3.
Yeah, Doha's on our team twice.
Yeah, so between you and Doha V2, okay, all of them. I think you guys rotate more than we do. I think, which is fair because I think between all the levels of all three of them, I think y'all would have the higher skill level overall DPS wise, because Blase is fucking one trick. Like, so like
hey,
deepest one trick.
We have seen one tricks come in and pop off. I mean, what was it? Note used to be a one trick. He did really good. I mean, he got signed because he was a one trick. So
True. Which is why we signed Blase, because we signed him during the Doomfist meta. And his Genji's pretty decent too, but we let Dante play the Genji now, so what does that say? So I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, so I think that it's gonna be, it's the DPS lineup all the way around that y'all may have a little bit of an advantage, but you guys rotate just as much, if not more than anyone when it comes to that part.
Yeah.
We slowed down our rotations. We don't. I'm happy about that as well. We don't put in Raucus as much anymore. No hate to Raucus. I think he's a very good Ana, but yeah, Jexay and Repel just playing too consistently, and I would like to see that matchup because Jexay and Repel, let's say they're both playing Moiras. I believe Repel would be on. No, I think Jexay would actually be the Moira, and Repel would run like the Zen.
I thought Jexay's primary character was Lucio.
It is his primary character is Lucio, but we flex him now. He doesn't just play Lucio, so I'm assuming that means he's gotten better. Because I've seen him play the Baptiste, or Repel play the Baptiste. No, if Jexay plays the Baptiste, Repel plays the Zen. So you want to put Repel on Zen if we can, because he's a really amazing Zen, and he would dunk on Crimzo if that was the case. And we found that out in the Summer Showdown, the 1v1 Zens. We're just saying, I have evidence of that. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting, and you can always tell a Moira who's actually being effective how fast do they have coalescence. If you're not getting in a pro level, in my opinion, as a non-pro, so take that what you will. If you're not getting coalescence at least every fight and a half in the Overwatch League, at least like at a minimum, it should be every fight. You're kind of not doing something right, because you can heal the entire team. That's like you can pump out almost 1,800 HP of healing and get the 50-60% alt charge in the first parts of the fight. You can get a lot done as Moira.
Not just that, but you can't forget she actually technically has an AoE heal. So
yeah, it's an AoE
and spray, but she can heal everyone around her at the same time.
And she can do damage. So like cleaning up the fight, you can do damage and get more alt charge. So there's so many different tools that she has to do damage and heal and build up her alt. So you can tell from that. I don't know what Crimzo's Moira looks like. I just don't remember it being serviceable. That's what I remember.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's all right. It is serviceable and it gets the job done, and we have won off of it. So it's not like it's not gonna do anything.
Oh yeah, both our teams have players where it's winnable. We're not the Washington Justice here, okay? We're both our teams can win some games.
Can we keep saying that now that they're the Titans 2.0?
They won one game, so I don't know.
They won one game, but they picked up a lot of good players who have good team synergy, and I do think that for the last bit of this season, we should keep an eye on the Justice. Just throwing that out there.
I think the Titans are the one I'd really be scared of.
Yeah,
I would really be scared of the Titans as a contenders team who's doing this well this early.
Yeah,
well, you're just like, man, when y'all get some strategies and stuff going, y'all gonna be kind of tough here. Dalton and I believe who is it? Stitch is Dalton and Shockwave. Yeah, Dalton and Shockwave
on the Titans
now. He's on the Justice.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah. So I think they're one to be scared of. But for the Outlaws, I think we've had a real good shot here of taking y'all down because we're just better. That's pretty much it.
Well, I mean, I would say who do you got in this game, but I think it's pretty obvious. I'm going for Dallas. You're going.
Do you not see all this green on the green?
I am looking forward to this game, point blank. Period. Not just for the rivalry, not just because our teams are playing, but because whenever our teams play, it's a good game.
It's always a good game.
The very first one, that one wasn't a good game, but ever since then, it's been a good game.
Oh yeah, and there's some rivalries. Our teams talk shit now too. I can't wait to see match chat.
Oh my god, yes.
Between Linkser and Crimzo, Linkser talks his shit. He does anime memes in the chat. Dante's got a little bit on it. Crimzo's always on there. They always teabag after every kill. It's great. It's great to watch.
As you should when it's your rival. But that's neither here nor there, guys. We are very excited for this next game. But that's not until this Friday. But until next time, this has been Texaswatch, your source for Houston Outlaws, Dallas Field discussion, and just Overwatch chat. You can catch the show right here live on twitch.tv/ProjectAR every Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time, because Texas time
is best this time.
If you can't catch the show live, don't worry about that. Follow us on podcast services. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please click that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and please ring the notification bell. You're going to be able to subscribe right there. I'm going to put the bubble right there. And maybe catch another one of our podcasts, probably somewhere over here. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put it. Future Anthony, edit that in. Okay, thanks. Until next time, let's make Texas proud.
Yeehaw.